During dinner, my son-in-law chuckled and asked, "What's it like to be a loser?" I simply smiled back and asked, "How does it feel knowing this loser won't pay your bills anymore?" After 15 years and nearly $1 million quietly supporting their lives, my patience finally ended. What happened next turned their entitlement into a life-changing lesson. Hi everyone, I'm David, the storyteller on the Family Tales channel. Here, I'll share stories about love, conflicts, betrayal, and infidelity within American families. These stories offer a deep look into relationships and the challenges families face. Stay tuned and explore with me. If you love emotional stories and want to uncover the hidden secrets in families, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our videos. At the dinner table, my son-in-law shared a hearty laugh. What does it feel like to be a failure? While everyone else was laughing, I stood apart. I simply smiled and inquired, "How does it feel to realize that this underachiever will no longer be covering your expenses?" As soon as I uttered those words, my brother-in-law's complexion drained of color, transforming the family table into a war zone. What he did next will leave you speechless. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share your location in the comments below. "You know, Mark," my son-in-law Sheldon remarked, swirling the expensive Cabernet in his glass, "retirement must be nice. Enjoy the freedom of a stress-free environment where you can embrace a laid-back lifestyle without the weight of deadlines or obligations." I gently placed my fork aside, watching as the prime rib on my plate began to cool. Surrounding the elegant mahogany table, the very one I assisted Caroline in selecting last year, candles danced softly in their crystal holders. My daughter truly excelled tonight, honoring Sheldon's promotion to regional sales manager. "It certainly has its highlights," I responded, observing him savor another hearty sip of the wine I had gifted as a token of celebration. Sheldon reclined in his chair, the one at the head of the table, a spot he had come to favor during family dinners. "While I appreciate your past achievements as an engineer, it's important to recognize that those accomplishments were made quite some time ago, around 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. We live in a transformed landscape where everything is digital and fast-paced, requiring a youthful mindset to truly thrive." Caroline shifted restlessly next to me, her bracelet, my gift from last Christmas, glistening in the warm candlelight. "Sheldon, Dad enjoyed an incredible career, crafting infrastructure that endures to this day." Of course, Sheldon waved it off. "But let's face it, when was the last time you truly created something or achieved something meaningful?" My granddaughter Emma, just 9 years old, glanced up from her chicken and said, "Grandpa built me a treehouse last summer." "That's adorable, darling." Sheldon gently patted her head with a hint of condescension. However, it's important for Grandpa to recognize that true men support their families by putting in their own effort and dedication. Not everyone can effortlessly glide through retirement, while others bear the burden. The silence lingered uncomfortably, stretching on and on. Caroline's nervous laughter broke the silence. Perhaps it's time to shift the conversation to a different topic. "Emma, share with Grandpa all about your piano recital." However, Sheldon was far from done. The promotion had pumped him up like a balloon, and the wine was fueling his newfound audacity. "I've been reflecting on my recent success, reaching the 6-figure milestone, and I believe it's time for everyone to step up and contribute their fair share." I understood precisely what he was conveying. "And for 15 years, I've supported mortgage payments, school tuitions, car expenses, and medical bills, all while witnessing him spend money freely as I silently managed the gaps. Consider Caroline, for example," he went on, pointing towards my daughter. "She has been away from the workforce for quite some time, relying on what we might refer to as familial support. Perhaps it's time for her to step back into reality." Caroline's complexion drained of color. She understood, just as I did, that their way of life relied completely on my discreet backing. The private school uniforms draped in the mudroom, the lease for Sheldon's BMW, the kitchen renovation they had finished last fall, all unfeasible without my assistance. Tommy, my 12-year-old grandson, picked up on the tension in the air. "Are we facing a problem, Dad?" "No, son. But it's crucial to grasp the distinction between earners and dependents, between providers and," he fixed his gaze on me, "those who've stopped striving." The insult lingered in the atmosphere, thick and suffocating like smoke. Caroline's fingers trembled as she reached for her wine glass. The children cast anxious looks at one another. Sheldon leaned in, encouraged by what he perceived as my quietude. "I don't want to come off as too blunt, Mark, but it's essential to address the tough questions. When did you last make a significant contribution? When was the last time you experienced the fulfillment of carving your own path, rather than merely going through the motions?" He took a moment to let the tension build, relishing what he thought was his time to shine. "What is it like to experience failure?" The question struck with the force of a physical blow. Caroline inhaled sharply. Tommy's fork clanged against his plate. As tears streamed down Emma's face, I remained unyielding. I savored a slow sip of water, placed the glass down with precision, and locked eyes with Sheldon. "What's the sensation like?" I spoke, my tone unwavering and precise. "Are you ready to leave this failure behind and stop letting it dictate your finances?" The color vanished from Sheldon's face, quicker than wine spilling from a shattered bottle. Caroline's hand shot up to cover her mouth. The children watched in bewilderment as their father's victorious demeanor shattered, giving way to a look of near panic. I carried on with my dinner, slicing each piece of meat with meticulous precision as the table remained enveloped in a hushed stillness. The suburban neighborhood was cloaked in darkness, with the faint echo of a neighbor's dog barking in the distance. After what seemed like an endless moment, I delicately wiped my mouth with the linen napkin, rose to my feet, and shared a farewell kiss with Emma and Tommy. "Thanks for the lovely dinner, Caroline. It was absolutely delightful." I approached the front door, took my coat from the closet, and stepped out into the brisk March evening, leaving behind a table bustling with people, finally starting to grasp the true meaning of 15 years of silent generosity. The 15-minute drive home unfolded in quietude, my hands firm on the steering wheel, even as a tempest swirled within. As I drove into my driveway, the motion sensor light illuminated the front steps, creating elongated shadows that danced in the evening glow. Upon entering, I placed my coat in the hall closet and made my way straight to my study, where the air was filled with the nostalgic scent of aged paper and polished wood. I turned on the brass desk lamp, its warm light casting a glow over 15 years of carefully arranged filing cabinets. As a retired engineer, I meticulously preserved every receipt, every bank statement, and every cancelled check. It's time to uncover the true price of my failure. The first drawer swung open, marked 2009 to 2012. The folders were organized by color: blue for mortgage assistance, green for auto loans, yellow for school expenses, and red for medical bills. In late 2008, my wife Martha passed away, and by January 2009, Caroline was facing significant challenges. The initial mortgage payment assistance of $2,800 for February, followed by another $2,800 in March, remains consistent. As I laid out the statements on my polished mahogany desk, the figures aligned perfectly in tidy columns beneath the warm glow of the lamp. $2,800 each month for a total of 180 months. My calculator displayed $5,000 in mortgage assistance with a deduction of $4,000. Following that were the car payments, Sheldon's BMW lease and Caroline's SUV loan, totaling $200 each month for 8 years, amounting to another $115,200. The figures rose consistently, with each folder uncovering yet another dimension of kindness I had overlooked. A whole drawer was packed with private school tuition receipts. Tommy's educational journey spans from kindergarten to 7th grade, while Emma's covers preschool through 4th grade. Prestigious academies featuring swimming pools and foreign language programs, with annual fees starting at $24,000 and potentially higher for summer camps and extracurricular activities. Over 16 years, the total education expenses amounted to $192,000 in medical insurance premiums during Sheldon's periods of unemployment. Children's dental appointments, urgent care visits, and Caroline's therapy sessions following the divorce scare 3 years back. Every manila envelope held a multitude of co-payment receipts, insurance forms, and medical bills that I had discreetly managed. $8,000 annually for 15 years. Totals $120,000. I discovered vacation receipts hidden behind insurance documents. Walt Disney World, 2015. Embark on a European cruise, 2018. Ski lodge rentals in Aspen. Holiday gifts, urgent vehicle repairs, the down payment for Caroline's kitchen makeover, plus an additional $45,000 in various assistance. The final tally had me sinking into my leather chair, a staggering $976,200, just shy of $1 million. For the first time since Martha's funeral, I truly felt the profound impact of the promise I made at her bedside. "Rest easy about Caroline," I murmured to my fading wife. "I'll ensure she's taken care of." Caroline's tears at the funeral lingered in my mind, her distress over the mortgage that she and Sheldon couldn't manage on their own. She had been so appreciative, reaching out weekly to express her thanks, sending over delicious homemade cookies, and bringing the grandchildren for delightful Sunday visits. When did the gratitude fade away? When did my assistance shift from being valued to merely anticipated? I retrieved my personal financial statements, revealing the sacrifices I've made along the way. There's the smaller retirement account, a result of my decision to delay investing. I settled for a modest 2-bedroom home instead of the dream lakefront property. My garage houses a 15-year-old truck, while Sheldon enjoys luxury vehicles. I have travel brochures gathering dust, unused because Caroline always had a need. My hobbies have fallen by the wayside, and the woman from church no longer invites me to dinner, as I'm perpetually busy helping family. I had invested almost $1 million over 15 years into my own aspirations. At 10:30 p.m., I picked up my phone and accessed my bank contact list. Tomorrow promises engaging discussions with automatic payment departments. On that Sunday morning, the coffee had a unique flavor, more robust than usual. I perched at my kitchen table, observing sparrows squabble over crumbs just beyond the window. Then I made my way back to my study, where orderly stacks of documents stood at attention, poised for action. Initially, National Bank picked up on the third ring. "Welcome to Account Services. This is Jennifer speaking. How can I assist you today? Please cancel the automatic payments from checking account 4578-9942-1156. My voice maintained the consistent tone I had relied on for 4 decades of engineering presentations. Could you please provide the last 4 digits of your social security number for verification purposes? The entire process was completed in just 12 minutes. Jennifer approached her work with meticulous attention and professionalism, completely oblivious to the fact that each keystroke was unraveling 15 years of financial structure. The payments have now been discontinued, Mr. Bennett. How else may I assist you today? Thank you. That's everything. Mortgage assistance confirmed, $2,800 per month. Colorado Mountain Insurance was in need of a supervisor. 3 transfers were required to cancel the BMW lease payment. Every call adhered to a consistent routine: courteous verification, streamlined processing, and confirmation numbers that I diligently noted in my notebook. As of 11:15 a.m., I had successfully checked off 8 items from my list. At 11:47, the phone began to ring. "Dad?" Caroline's voice conveyed a sense of confusion rather than panic. "Not at this moment. We encountered an unusual issue with our mortgage payment. The bank reached out, indicating that the account had insufficient funds. However, this seems illogical, as you had assumed I would continue making payments indefinitely." The silence hung between us, tight and unyielding like a drawn bowstring. "Could you clarify what you mean?" Her voice soared by half an octave. "That's precisely what I mentioned last night. I will not be covering your expenses any longer." "However, Dad, you simply can't. This morning marked the end of the mortgage, the insurance, and Tommy's school." I could sense her breath becoming rapid. "This is not amusing. We are at risk of losing the house. Next, you'll have to determine how to cover the costs on your own." The call abruptly ended. I had 6 additional calls waiting for me in my notebook. The utility companies demonstrated remarkable efficiency. Centura Academy's accounting department posed fewer inquiries than I anticipated. Every confirmation number was recorded in my log with meticulous accuracy. Caroline returned the call at 12:23 p.m., her voice laced with authentic fear. "Dad, I really need your help to make sense of this situation. The school reached out, the insurance provider contacted us, and even the electric company got in touch. Everyone is claiming that our payments were declined due to my cancellation of the automatic transfers from my accounts. What about your accounts?" The question emerged softly, almost as a whisper. "Did you really believe these payments appeared out of nowhere, Caroline?" A moment of stillness. "However, we never requested that from you. You never inquired, as it was never necessary. I just went ahead and did it. We are unable to allocate resources for..." She held back. "Absolutely. That's exactly it." At 12:31, my phone buzzed once more. This time, Sheldon's voice resonated with a strained sense of command. "Mark, it's time to put an end to whatever game you're playing. It's all about the real deal, no games involved. Our family is unbreakable, no matter how hurt you felt at dinner. I'm not causing any destruction. I am discontinuing my financial support. Are you curious about the experience of feeling like a failure? Take charge of your own bills." His silence extended beyond the duration of Caroline's. I made my last call to my financial advisor. "On Monday morning, we'll explore the possibility of channeling those monthly payments into my long overdue retirement fund." Outside, the sparrows discovered an abundance of crumbs. At 1:15 p.m., the unmistakable sound of Sheldon's BMW gliding into my driveway shattered the serene afternoon silence. From my living room window, I observed him slam the car door with excessive force as Caroline stepped out of the passenger seat, gripping her purse tightly as if it were a lifeline. They approached my front walkway with a resolute gait, exuding the confidence of those who believe they possess the moral high ground. I swung the door wide open, just as their knuckles were about to make contact. "It's time for a conversation." Sheldon brushed by me uninvited, with Caroline following closely, her eyes tinged with red. Sheldon took his place in the middle of my living room, exuding the confidence of a general asserting his dominion. "Your outrageous outburst comes to a halt right here. Contact those banks right away and ensure that every payment is reinstated without delay." "Absolutely not." His face turned a deep shade of crimson. "It's unacceptable to sever our connection without any prior notice. Legal obligations and verbal contracts exist. Could you please provide the contract that outlines my commitment to covering your bills indefinitely?" Caroline took a step forward, her voice quivering with emotion. "Dad, I urge you to consider what Mom would have wanted. Keep in mind the vow you made at her funeral." The mention of Martha struck me like a chilling breeze, yet I had anticipated this approach. I committed to assisting you in achieving stability. After 15 years and close to $1 million invested, your stability has diminished compared to when we began. $1 million. Caroline's whisper floated softly through the room. I made my way to my desk, picked up my calculator and notebook. $976,200. Support for mortgages, vehicle financing, insurance coverage, educational expenses, healthcare costs, travel experiences, unexpected situations. Is it a good idea to categorize it? For a brief moment, Sheldon's bravado wavered, lasting precisely 3 seconds. "Well, that simply can't be done. We never requested so much. You never requested anything. You just anticipated it." Caroline collapsed onto my couch, her complexion ghostly. "However, the kids, Tommy's baseball league, and Emma's dance classes, we will proceed. From now on, I'll handle those payments directly. No more cash circulating between you and Sheldon. It's not right to split the family apart like that." Sheldon reacted sharply. "We are one cohesive team, a cohesive unit. Mutual respect is essential for teams." "When was the last time either of you expressed gratitude for anything I've done?" The question lingered, suspended in the warm afternoon air. Caroline's tears began to flow gently, gradually escalating into the heart-wrenching sobs that took me back to her tumultuous teenage years. I had no idea it was that significant. "I believed you were here to lend a hand. I believed it brought you joy. Indeed, it did. Until you ceased to value it and began to expect it." Sheldon started to pace across my carpet, restless and agitated like a trapped creature. "All right. Are you seeking appreciation? Thank you very much. There it is. It's time to reinstate the payments. Gratitude isn't effective when looking back, Sheldon." He came to a halt. For the first time since stepping into my home, he appeared truly concerned, instead of just furious. "What is it that you seek from us? It's essential to discover ways to manage your finances effectively. I want my grandchildren to witness their parents striving for what they have, rather than relying on handouts. I desire to be valued as a father and grandfather, rather than just a source of money." Caroline gazed upward, her eyes glistening with tears. "What happens if we can't? What happens if we lose it all? That's when you'll truly experience the essence of failure." The silence lingered, as if the afternoon shadows themselves were pausing in anticipation. Sheldon squared his shoulders, regaining a touch of his professional poise. "We'll find out soon enough. Some lawyers focus specifically on cases of elder financial abuse." I nearly cracked a smile. "Kindly reach out to them. I would like to share my experience of enduring financial abuse for the past 15 years. They departed in silence. Sheldon's BMW sprang to life, its engine unleashing a fierce growl that seemed to exceed its own limits. I stood by the window, observing them fade away down the street, and suddenly became aware of my trembling hands. Silence enveloped my home, cascading in like water breaching a shattered dam. I sank into my leather armchair, a cherished gift from Martha on our 20th anniversary, and gazed at the wedding photo displayed on the mantel. Caroline's beaming smile, Sheldon's charming bow tie, Martha's luminous expression next to me. That was back in 2007. At that time, Sheldon was employed at a modest insurance firm, cruised around in a decade-old Honda, and addressed me as Sir. his respect unmistakably sincere. During our initial private conversation, he assured me, Mr. Bennett, that he would take excellent care of Caroline. While my current circumstances may be modest, I am dedicated to putting in the effort to create a future that your daughter deserves. There was an authentic humility in his voice. I had faith in him. 2 years later, Martha had vanished. Cancer claimed her life in just 4 harrowing months, leaving Caroline shattered and Sheldon struggling to keep up with their modest mortgage on his entry-level income. In the wake of the 2009 recession, his company was forced to make the difficult decision to lay off employees. During Martha's funeral, Caroline leaned heavily against me, her strength giving way. "Dad, I'm uncertain about how we'll get through this. Sheldon's position lacks stability. The mortgage payments." "Don't worry," I whispered, cradling my heartbroken daughter. "I'm here to support you until you find your footing, until you achieve stability, not for eternity." In those early years, Sheldon's appreciation was truly profound. Personalized, handwritten thank you notes. Weekend visits when he would take care of my gutters or trim my lawn. Caroline made it a point to call me twice a week, always checking in, and she brought the grandchildren along for our Sunday dinners. "Dad, you're truly our hero," she would say, tears glistening in her eyes. "Rest assured, we'll reimburse you as soon as circumstances get better." Sheldon assured me that in just 6 months, my first mortgage payment of $2,800 would be manageable until I receive my promotion. "We're looking for assistance with the car loan, $450 a month, until we establish some equity in the house. Tommy's private school tuition is set at $2,000 each month, solely for kindergarten, ensuring he receives a robust educational foundation. Each moment transformed into permanence. Every temporary measure turned into a norm. As 2012 rolled around, the thank you notes ceased to arrive. Sheldon's weekend visits turned into rare drop-ins, where he'd sip my beer and vent about his boss. Caroline's appreciative calls evolved into regular requests for further assistance. "Hey, Dad, could you take care of Emma's dance classes for just $200 a month? Dad, the kids require new computers for school. Dad, it looks like our vacation rental didn't work out. Could you assist with another location?" First, the word please vanished, followed by thank you. Ultimately, you can become what you need to be. By 2018, Sheldon had completely ceased to recognize my contributions. At neighborhood barbecues, he would boast about his home improvements, his kids' exclusive schooling, and his thriving way of life. When neighbors praised his BMW, he would shine with pride, sharing insights about his savvy financial strategies. Caroline started to take his side against me. Whenever I softly proposed that they consider handling certain expenses on their own, she would react with annoyance. "Dad, you're missing the mark on how family dynamics have evolved today. Sheldon is facing immense pressure in his professional life. The children have created their own routines. It's not advisable to upend everything simply because you're feeling undervalued." Unappreciated. The term struck with the force of a physical blow. During last Christmas, my support went unrecognized by both of them. Sheldon raised his glass to celebrate the dedication he poured into supporting his family. Caroline shared stunning social media photos showcasing their lavish gifts, accompanied by hashtags celebrating their blessed family success. I found myself in my cozy living room, gazing at the thank you cards from 2009, pondering when gratitude had transformed into a sense of entitlement. As I sat in the gathering dusk, clarity washed over me. I grasped what Martha would have truly desired. It's about fostering dignity instead of endless enabling, and prioritizing respect over unlimited generosity. In the fading light, shadows elongated across my front yard, while a phone's distant ring echoed through the air. 3 days unfolded like a mesmerizing cascade of dominoes, each moment lingering in slow motion. The first bank notifications arrived on a Monday morning. At 9:47 a.m., Caroline's voice trembled with urgency as she called. "Dad, it looks like our mortgage payment didn't go through. A penalty fee of $75 applies. The bank requires $28.75 by tomorrow, or they will initiate foreclosure proceedings." I remained silent. The silence lingered until she finally ended the call. By midday, Sheldon's BMW leasing company had already reached out with 2 voicemails regarding the overdue $650 payment. Caroline's SUV loan payment of $480 was returned, incurring a $50 penalty. Their homeowner's insurance expired at 3 p.m. due to a failed automatic payment. Tuesday unveiled a more profound depth. Caroline reached out once more, her voice cutting through the chaos of Sheldon's shouts in the background. "We can't cover everything," her voice trembled. "I submitted applications to Target, Walmart, and 3 different restaurants. Even if I land the job right away, the pay is set at $12 an hour. That's just under $2,000 a month before taxes." After a 15-year hiatus, she found herself calculating her survival through mathematics. On Wednesday afternoon, I cruised by Centura Academy right around pickup time. Tommy and Emma joined their peers, all of whom had successfully completed their tuition payments. That morning, Caroline received a call from the school. $4,800 is required immediately, or the children will be withdrawn by Friday. That evening, Mrs. Payne, my neighbor, shared that she had heard raised voices coming from Caroline's house while she was out for a walk. "It appears there are financial difficulties," she remarked, with a hint of sorrow. The young man was shouting about his credit cards being maxed out. Thursday reached its peak. At 2:15 p.m., Caroline made her third call. "Dad, I had 5 interviews yesterday. McDonald's, a cleaning service, a supermarket. Everyone is seeking references from recent employers. It's been since 2009 that I've been out of the workforce." Her voice had shed its commanding tone, giving way to a quality I hadn't encountered in years: humility. "Yesterday, Sheldon made an attempt to pay the mortgage. We currently have a balance of $3,000 in our account. The total amount due is $28.75. He made the payment only to realize that we were unable to cover utilities, groceries, or gas for the cars. He needed to reach out to the bank again to cancel the payment. I chose to stay quiet. The BMW leasing company has arranged for a repossession to take place on Monday. Sheldon's car is at risk unless we come up with $650, along with a $200 reinstatement fee. Embrace the quiet. Father?" Her voice dwindled to a whisper. "I fear we might lose it all." "Indeed," I responded softly. "There's a good chance you are." At that moment, tears began to flow, heart-wrenching sobs that echoed the anguish of her teenage heartbreaks. This was far from mere teenage drama. This was the outcome of adult choices. On Friday morning, I found myself in my study, meticulously reviewing my revised financial plan. The monthly payments I had been making were intended for the European river cruise that Martha and I had envisioned before her illness, the Italian cooking classes, and the photography workshop in Scotland. The clock struck 11:30, and my phone began to ring. This time, it's Sheldon. Mark's voice lacked the arrogance it once held. "It's time for a conversation. We've had a conversation. We need to have a serious conversation. In our adult lives, let's explore how we can resolve this situation effectively." "Are you asking how I can resolve your situation?" A prolonged silence. "Absolutely. That's precisely what I'm referring to." At long last, he was embracing the truth. "Join us this Sunday afternoon, everyone. Gather the kids. Shall we proceed? What topics should we get ready to talk about? Reality, I declared before ending the call. Outside my window, the first blooms of spring were starting to break through the earth. On a Monday morning, I received a call from my friend Dave at the hardware store, his voice filled with concern. "Mark, I came across some concerning news yesterday. Sheldon was at Murphy's bar, spreading the word that you severed ties with your family unexpectedly. You mentioned that you're pushing the kids out of private school out of spite." I gently placed my coffee cup on the table. What did he say? Precisely. Described it as a financial abandonment of innocent grandchildren. Incorporated numerous industry-specific terminology. It comes across as though you're imposing a consequence on Caroline for something trivial. On Tuesday, Caroline reached out to my late wife's sister, Janet. That afternoon, Janet called me, her voice laced with disapproval. "Caroline claims that you've left them high and dry when they needed you the most." She was in tears. Mark expressed that the children are puzzled about why Grandpa seems to no longer love them. Did she bring up the $976,000 I've contributed over the past 15 years? Prolonged quiet. What about her? Close to $1 million, Janet. Monthly mortgage payments, car loans, insurance costs, school tuition, medical expenses, vacations. Every single month for 15 years. That doesn't seem accurate. I possess detailed records for every single cent. Emma reached out to me the following morning. Her delicate voice was meticulously practiced. "Grandfather, Mommy mentioned that we could lose our home because you no longer want to support us. Did we make a mistake?" Though my heart ached, I maintained a soft tone. "You haven't done anything wrong, darling. How about I swing by and take you out for some ice cream this afternoon? Mommy mentioned that you might be inclined to decline everything at this time. I always say yes to ice cream when I'm with my granddaughter." That afternoon at Dairy Queen, Emma's rehearsed melancholy faded as she shared her art project with me. As I dropped her off, Caroline observed from the window, her gaze sharp and assessing. Wednesday ushered in a more straightforward clash. Nancy Morrison, a familiar face from the neighborhood, came up to me while I was shopping at the grocery store. "Mark Bennett, I am disappointed in you." Her voice resonated through 3 aisles. "Turning your back on your daughter in her time of need. How would Martha perceive this?" I met her gaze with composure. Martha would consider 15 years and close to $1 million quite generous. Nancy's fierce indignation wavered. $1,976,200. Need help with your mortgage? Looking for car payment options? Tuition fees for school? Curious about insurance premiums? Facing medical bills? Planning your vacation budget? Are you interested in reviewing the bank records? Onlookers paused to hear what was unfolding. Nancy's cheeks flushed with color. Did Caroline ever bring it up? Caroline shares hardly any details about what she receives, Nancy. Just what she desires. Later that evening, Dave made another call. Sheldon returned to Murphy's this evening. Stuck to the usual routine, but Bill Henderson showed up. Do you recall Bill? 3 years ago, he sold them that BMW. What did Bill mention? Inquired about how Sheldon managed to purchase a $60,000 car, given his salary. As Sheldon began to deflect, Bill recalled that you had co-signed the lease. Silence swept through the bar in an instant. On Thursday morning, I received a call from my former engineering colleague, Tom. I overheard some intriguing chatter at the coffee shop. I also received your perspective from Dave. Would it be all right if I asked you something directly? Did you truly stand by them for 15 years? Since Martha's passing, each month has gone by unnoticed, and last Christmas, Sheldon raised a toast, proudly highlighting his dedication to supporting the family. Caroline shared snapshots of their lavish gifts on social media, accompanied by hashtags celebrating their blessed family success. Tom let out a soft whistle. That's pretty chilly, Mark. On Friday evening, as I tended to my front garden, Mrs. Payne made her way over to me. "Mr. Bennett, my daughter overheard something during school pickup today. Parents discussing family dynamics. She mentioned that there are individuals who are raising doubts about the narrative your son-in-law has been sharing. I kept nurturing my roses with water. Everyone is entitled to their own perspective. She mentioned that you have shown remarkable generosity to those children throughout the years. Extremely generous. My heart is filled with love for my grandchildren. Absolutely you do. That has always been clear." On Saturday morning, Caroline's call pierced through the air, her voice laced with urgency and distress. "Questions are being raised, Dad. Challenging inquiries regarding finances, schedules, and paperwork. It's time to put an end to the misinformation being circulated about us. I assure you, Caroline, I haven't shared anything. I have provided straightforward answers to questions when approached directly. Your actions are tarnishing our reputation within this community. I'm not causing any destruction. I'm simply done supporting the fabrication of illusions." The call abruptly ended. Sunday greeted us with bright blue skies, and the anticipation of gathering in my living room by afternoon filled the air. This time, the eyes of the community would be upon us. The family meeting was never held. Come Monday morning, reality had different ideas in store. At 8:15 a.m., I received a call from Dave. Yesterday evening, Mark noticed a foreclosure notice affixed to Caroline's front door. Important announcement from the county. I placed my coffee down with precision. 1 month. They were given a 30-day window to settle a payment of $6.25. 3 months of overdue mortgage payments, along with penalties and legal fees. Tuesday morning unveiled a fresh wave of transformations. Caroline's BMW had vanished from their driveway, making way for a decade-old Honda Civic. Mrs. Payne noted that she spotted Sheldon at the Honda dealership, appearing quite defeated as Caroline completed the paperwork. She noted that the monthly savings should be substantial. The monthly cost of that BMW lease was likely approaching $1,000. On Wednesday afternoon, I made a quick trip to the grocery store and spotted Caroline at the checkout counter. Clad in a blue vest adorned with a name tag, she scanned items with impeccable mechanical precision. As Mrs. Patterson neared her lane, Caroline's cheeks turned a vivid shade of crimson. "Is that you, Caroline? Hey there, I had no idea you were part of the team here." "It started Monday," Caroline replied, avoiding eye contact. "Which will it be, paper or plastic?" She wrapped up her shift at 6 p.m. I observed from the window as she made her way to the aging Honda, her shoulders drooping with fatigue. That evening, Tommy reached out to me. Once more, Grandpa, Mom, and Dad are at odds. Incredibly loud this time. "What's on your mind, friend?" "Wealth. Dad mentioned that Mom's job isn't financially significant. Mom mentioned that Dad never earned quite enough either. After that, they spoke unkindly about you." "What type of unkind remarks?" "You intentionally destroyed everything." However, Mom began to cry and suggested that perhaps they had brought this upon themselves. As I strolled through the neighborhood on Thursday morning, I couldn't help but notice the echoes of raised voices emanating from their house. I picked up snippets through the delicate barriers. 8 hours on my feet for a pittance. We never truly valued what we possessed. Your pride led us into this situation. After 15 years of support, and now, the heated exchange came to an abrupt halt, giving way to the sharp sound of a door slamming shut, followed by the unmistakable roar of Sheldon's Honda as it came to life. That afternoon, Emma came to see me, her typical brightness overshadowed by concern. Grandpa, what makes everything feel so different these days? I placed her at my kitchen table, complete with cookies and milk. What seems to be different, darling? Mom often feels exhausted and downhearted. Dad seems to find frustration in just about everything. They discuss the possibility of losing our home. Tommy caught wind of the possibility that a school change might be on the horizon. What are your thoughts on that? Fearful, yet also, she paused, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. Perhaps they could have expressed their gratitude more often from the lips of little ones. On Friday evening, I found myself engrossed in a book in my study when the doorbell chimed. Sheldon stood on my porch, a solitary figure stripped of his usual corporate confidence. His typically pressed shirt was now wrinkled, his tie hung loosely, and his face bore an exhaustion I had never witnessed before. "Mark, I'd like to have a conversation with you. Only the two of us, person to person." I welcomed him into my living room, the very space where he had insisted I reinstate payments just a fortnight prior. He sank into the chair, his hands gripping firmly between his knees. "The foreclosure is happening. 1 month. Caroline is putting in 40 hours each week at a rate of $13.50 per hour. Once taxes are accounted for, we're looking at approximately $100 each month. I'm earning approximately $5,800 each month. The mortgage payment stands at $28.75. He gazed at me with a hint of humility. "It's just not feasible for us. Far from it. It seems we never quite managed to, did we? Life just isn't the same without you." "No," I replied softly. "You never had the ability to do so. Your words have been on my mind lately, particularly the distinction between earning respect and inheriting it." His voice wavered just a bit. "It seems I haven't achieved anything, have I? The home, the vehicles, the children's education, everything felt like it belonged to someone else. What is it that you seek from me, Sheldon? I'm eager to discover if there's a path leading back from this situation. Not a return to the past, but a leap toward a brighter future." As twilight descended upon our suburban neighborhood, the streetlights started to flicker to life, casting a warm glow in the encroaching darkness. On a Saturday afternoon, while I was sorting through my financial documents, the doorbell chimed. Caroline stood on my porch, clad in her blue grocery store vest, her face marked by tears and fatigue. "Dad, we really need to discuss Tommy and Emma." She appeared transformed, somehow more diminutive. The once unshakable confidence I had observed develop over 15 years had shattered, revealing the scared daughter I recalled from Martha's funeral. I welcomed her into the living room. She sank into the very chair where Sheldon had perched the night before, her hands trembling as she removed her work name tag. 4 days, she murmured softly. "Just 4 days left until the foreclosure is finalized. Tommy keeps inquiring whether we are truly going to lose the house." Emma experienced unsettling dreams last night about relocating to an unfamiliar location. "What is it that you seek from me, Caroline?" "I desire a stable environment for my children. I hope they can wrap up the school year surrounded by their friends. I desire for Emma to peacefully sleep through the night without any tears about being away from her bedroom." She gazed at me with eyes that revealed nothing but pure maternal urgency, devoid of any hint of deceit. "I've dedicated 40 hours a week on my feet, scanning groceries for those who were once my friends. Yesterday, Mrs. Henderson approached my register and inquired about my reasons for being there. I felt an overwhelming urge to hide beneath the counter and vanish from sight. Yet, you chose not to?" "No," I smiled and asked if they preferred paper or plastic, because I finally grasped the true meaning of work, of earning, and the lessons you've been striving to impart to us. She delicately dabbed her nose with a tissue pulled from her purse. "Sheldon shared details of your conversation from last night. He mentioned that you inquired about a possible way forward. There could be a possibility, but it would necessitate substantial adjustments from both parties. Share your thoughts with me. I leaned in closer. My curiosity piqued. I will make the tuition payments for Tommy and Emma directly to Centura Academy. I will take care of their clothing, medical expenses, sports activities, and music lessons. I will set up college funds for each of them. Caroline's expression lit up with the first glimmer of hope I had witnessed in weeks. However, I must emphasize that I will not cover your mortgage, car payments, insurance, or any expenses associated with adult living. You and Sheldon will thrive within your true financial capacity. That's it. Absolutely. We can make that happen. We're going to simplify our living situation and seek out a cozier space. There's so much more to discover. I seek recognition for the 15 years of dedication and the $976,000 contribution I've made. I am seeking genuine public apologies for the disrespect and sense of entitlement displayed. I seek authentic appreciation, not merely when it's convenient for you. Caroline's expression twisted in distress. Sheldon is unlikely to ever consent to making public apologies. His pride, ultimately, takes precedence over his children's stability. We remained quiet as she absorbed this truth. What type of public recognition are we discussing? A heartfelt letter to the community newspaper, expressing gratitude for the support I've provided to your family and acknowledging my generosity. A heartfelt Facebook post celebrating 15 years of providing financial support. Apologize in person to those you've deceived in the last 2 weeks. By taking these steps, we can ensure that your children enjoy educational stability and the warmth of grandfather's affection. Your relationship with me will be grounded in honesty and mutual respect. Yet it will also be shaped by the financial realities of what you and Sheldon truly earn. Caroline shielded her face with her hands. I'm not sure I can persuade him. Time is of the essence. Make your decision within the next 48 hours. The offer will no longer be available after that date. She rose gradually, her grocery vest creased from a long day's work. She paused at the door, glancing back. Thank you, Dad, for your continued care for Tommy and Emma. I've always cared about each and every one of you, Caroline. I've decided to stop enabling you. Once she drove off in the aging Honda, I settled into my living room, tuning into the evening news. A challenging conversation was on the verge of unfolding somewhere in the city. At 5:30 p.m., Caroline's Honda glided into the driveway. From my neighbor Dave's account, I discovered how the evening unfolded. As Sheldon warmed up some leftover pizza, Caroline walked into the kitchen, her grocery vest still on from her recent shopping trip. He glanced away from the microwave, taking in her red-rimmed eyes and weary stance. Where have you been hiding? Your shift concluded at 3 o'clock. I visited Dad. In the stillness that ensued, the microwave let out a sharp beep. Sheldon retrieved the piping hot pizza from the oven, placed it on the counter with care, and turned to meet his wife's gaze completely. Did you really go behind my back after all we talked about regarding handling this together? Time's up, Sheldon. Just 4 days left until foreclosure. The kids are filled with fear. I needed to take action. Caroline settled into a kitchen chair, her fingers trembling as she removed her name tag. He's ready to assist, but there are stipulations involved. What types of conditions are we discussing? He will cover the costs for Tommy and Emma's education, clothing, extracurricular activities, and medical needs. He will establish college funds for each of them. Sheldon's expression lit up. That's absolutely wonderful. When will he resume the mortgage payments? He does not. We must base our lifestyle on our actual earnings. The light dimmed in an instant. That can't be done. You're familiar with our costs. He desires something more as well. Caroline's voice fell to a soft whisper. Apologies to the public. We express our heartfelt gratitude for the 15 years of unwavering support and the generous contribution of $976,000. Sheldon's complexion shifted from pale to flushed. He expects me to degrade myself, to openly confess that I've been, what, a charity case? Sheldon invested almost $1 million in us. $1 million. Are you grasping the significance of that? He made the decision to support his family. That's the essence of fatherhood. Caroline rose gradually, her grocery vest creased and marked. No, that's the work of saints. We utilized him as if he were an ATM. Tommy's voice echoed from upstairs, calling down with a familiar tone. Mother? Father? What's with the shouting? Both parents paused, aware that their voices had escalated. Emma emerged from the top of the stairs in her cozy pajamas, sleepily rubbing her eyes. Are you having another argument about Grandpa? Caroline ascended the stairs, determined to bring solace to her daughter. As Sheldon paced the kitchen, his fists tightened in frustration. Upon Caroline's return, 20 minutes later, she discovered him fixated on the foreclosure notice resting on the counter. I won't do it, he said, his gaze fixed elsewhere. I refuse to stand before our neighbors and confess that I am a failure who couldn't support my own family. So what do you propose as a solution? What will our future home be? What school will the children attend? We'll come up with a solution. Consider securing a loan, exploring bankruptcy options, or taking another step forward. There's no way you'll find yourself crawling to your father, pleading for forgiveness over things that don't even exist. Caroline retrieved her phone and launched the calculator app. All right, let's work this out. We bring in a total of $6,900 each month. The monthly mortgage payment amounts to $2,875. That results in a remaining balance of $40, just $25 for all the extras. She kept her fingers dancing across the keyboard, entering numbers with precision. The monthly payment for the Honda is $350. Insurance cost, $250. Utility expenses amount to $300. Grocery expenses total $600. Fuel expense, $200. That amounts to $1,600, which leaves us with $2,625. Absolutely, we can make this happen. The children's expenses have not been included yet. Tommy's baseball league costs $120 each month. Join Emma's dance classes for just $80. School supplies for the kids, clothing, medical co-pays, birthday celebrations, and Christmas presents. Caroline's voice trembled. Sheldon, we simply don't have the financial means to support our children. Tommy's voice floated down once more through the thin walls. Mom, Emma is in tears. She claims we're facing homelessness. Caroline gazed at her husband, her eyes devoid of any hint of the demanding woman who had insisted her father reinstate their payments just 2 weeks prior. Time is of the essence. We have just 36 hours to make our decision. Don't miss out. Dad's offer ends this Monday at noon. She ascended the stairs to soothe her children, leaving Sheldon behind in the kitchen, grappling with the foreclosure notice and a calculator that couldn't solve their insurmountable financial dilemma. At 10:15 on a Monday morning, the Honda rolled into my driveway, bringing all 4 of them along. From my front window, I observed Sheldon step out of the passenger seat, his body language heavy with the weariness of a man who had spent the night lost in thought, gazing at ceilings. Caroline rapped on my door, accompanied by Tommy and Emma, both dressed in their school attire. Sheldon lingered in the background, his business shirt creased and his eyes shadowed with fatigue. Dad, it's time to embrace your offer. Everything. I welcomed them into my living room. The children nestled comfortably on my couch as Caroline reclaimed the chair she had occupied on Saturday. Sheldon stood tall, his hands locked behind his back, reminiscent of a defendant bracing for the verdict. This morning, the bank reached out, Caroline continued. The foreclosure wraps up at 3 p.m. We need to pay $8,625. Unfortunately, it's not available. Emma pulled gently at my sleeve. Grandpa, is it true that we might lose our home? "Not on my watch, darling." Sheldon took a moment to clear his throat. "Mark, I have a few important points to discuss." He approached my mantel, examining the wedding photo of Martha and me, before turning to confront his family. 15 years ago, you extended a helping hand to us on a temporary basis. I accepted that assistance and transformed it into a lasting agreement, all while failing to recognize the sacrifices you made. His voice wavered just a bit. I shared with others that the renovations on my house were a result of my achievements at work. I boasted about the cars as if I had truly earned them. I allowed Tommy and Emma to believe that their grandfather was simply being kind, rather than recognizing him as their true provider. Caroline extended her hand, gently clasping Emma's. "I also owe you an apology, Dad. I received your generosity as if it were an inheritance, believing it was my right, rather than a gift you willingly offered." Sheldon added that you have been covering our mortgage for 15 years. $504,000. You covered our car loans, insurance, school tuition, medical expenses, vacations, Christmas gifts, birthday celebrations, dance classes, and baseball leagues. Tommy gazed upward, his eyes wide with wonder. "My grandpa covered the cost of my baseball." "Grandpa covered all the expenses," Caroline murmured softly. "Nearly $1 million accumulated over a span of 15 years. Emma's delicate voice pierced the thick atmosphere. Why wasn't this shared with us? Caroline's cheeks flushed with a deep crimson hue. We felt a sense of shame, not for accepting Grandpa's assistance, but for pretending we were self-sufficient. I leaned in closer, my curiosity piqued. By assisting you with the house today, we can create a new and improved situation. I will make the tuition payments for Tommy and Emma directly to Centura Academy. I will take care of their medical expenses, clothing, activities, and college funds. However, I will not cover your mortgage, car payments, or any other adult lifestyle expenses. You'll thrive on what you truly earn. Sheldon nodded thoughtfully. We get it. There's so much more to discover. I seek recognition in a public forum. A heartfelt letter to the community newspaper expressing gratitude for 15 years of unwavering support. Heartfelt social media posts that convey sincere appreciation. Offer sincere in-person apologies to the neighbors you've misled. When will it happen? Caroline inquired. What about this week? Prior to Saturday. Sheldon's jaw clenched, yet he gave another nod. What more is there? Gather for family dinners every month. It's not about disclosing your finances. It's about nurturing healthy relationships. Family embodies respect, not entitlement. I rose from my seat and made my way to the desk, retrieving my checkbook with purpose. I will be contacting First National to set up an emergency payment, but let it be known that this will be the final mortgage payment I ever make for you. From this point forward, your success depends solely on your own earnings. As I called the bank, I caught Emma softly asking her mother, "Are we going to be okay now?" Caroline's voice carried a gentle confidence. "Absolutely, darling. Everything is going to work out perfectly." After 15 long years, I finally see that she was right. 3 months later, on the third Saturday of June, they arrived for our monthly family meeting right on the dot at 2 p.m. Caroline received a well-deserved promotion to shift supervisor at the grocery store, now earning $15.50 an hour. Sheldon mastered the art of balancing their budget, all without relying on unrealistic expectations. Grandfather. Emma burst into my front door, clad in her soccer uniform, with grass stains adorning her knees and a shiny medal hanging proudly around her neck. Check out my prize from the tournament. That's absolutely delightful, my dear. share the details of the decisive goal that clinched the victory. As Emma captivated me with tales of her athletic feats, Tommy proudly presented his report card, boasting straight A's along with a commendation from his teacher, highlighting his enhanced attitude and newfound confidence. Caroline placed a manila folder on my coffee table. "Dad, take a look at this month's budget review. Our combined salaries are fully taking care of the mortgage, utilities, groceries, and car payment. We've taken the proactive step of establishing a small emergency fund. Sheldon, who just 3 months prior couldn't meet my gaze, is now engaging in our discussions with authentic respect. Mark, I'm reaching out to seek your insights on an exciting promotion opportunity that has come up at work. There's a possibility that the regional director position will become available next quarter. What does it entail?" Increased responsibility, enhanced salary, along with travel opportunities. I wanted to ensure that Caroline and I can manage the children's schedules whenever I'm away from time to time. I created my own folder, meticulously organized with the precision of an engineer, containing Tommy's soccer league fee, paid directly to Colorado Youth Sports. Emma's piano lessons are expertly managed by Mountain Music Academy. The dental checkups for both children are set for next month and will be covered by my family plan. Caroline beamed, a heartfelt smile that felt like a rare treasure I hadn't witnessed in ages. "Dad, I truly appreciate everything you've done to ensure their lives remained stable while we navigated the journey to adulthood." In a nod to adulthood, Sheldon remarked that we successfully fulfilled the community service hours mandated by Judge Martinez following our public apology letters. Volunteering at the food bank opened my eyes to new perspectives. We encountered families who were truly facing hardships, not merely those who were overspending like we were. Emma pulled gently at my sleeve. "Grandpa, would you like to see the thank you cards we created for you?" The children crafted vibrant construction paper cards, adorned with sparkling glitter and sincere messages from the heart. Tommy's read, "We appreciate you looking after us, even when Mom and Dad overlooked saying please." Emma's was more straightforward. "I cherish you, Grandpa. You're simply outstanding." These were genuine expressions, free from coaching or guilt-induced apologies. These were the genuine expressions of children who had truly grasped the essence of love and security. Caroline spoke softly, revealing there was something more. "Sheldon and I have been discussing the possibility of purchasing a smaller home in the future, an option that fits comfortably within our budget. Not right away, but perhaps in 2 years, once we've accumulated more savings." Sheldon nodded in agreement, recognizing the value of that thoughtful planning. "We aim to demonstrate our ability to be self-sufficient. It's not that we don't value your support with the kids. Rather, we must honor the contributions you've already made." As the afternoon drew to a close, Tommy posed the question that encapsulated it all. "Grandpa, do you feel proud of us at this moment?" As I surveyed my living room, my gaze fell upon my daughter, who had truly grasped the importance of hard work. My son-in-law, having set aside his pride for the sake of his children and my grandchildren, has finally come to appreciate the true meaning of gratitude. "Absolutely, Tommy. I couldn't be prouder of each and every one of you." As the sun dipped below the horizon, I walked them to their car, Emma's hand clasped in mine. The Honda, a replacement for the BMW, somehow felt less like a step down and more like a thoughtful decision, radiating a sense of wisdom. As I watched their taillights fade into the distance, it struck me that Martha would have felt a sense of pride as well. It's not about the money I spent or the control I exerted, but rather the family we transformed into when respect took the place of entitlement and love overshadowed exploitation. The revenge I desired wasn't about punishment, it was about transformation. Sometimes, that's the most satisfying form of justice there is. If you enjoyed this story, we'd love for you to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts about the story in the comments below. That's it for today's story. If you found it moving,
Don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.